Hi everyone, Amy here, and today I'm going to make a cutie patootie narwhal card using some dies and stenciling, and let's jump right in. Now, in my mission to work through things I haven't touched yet in my craft room, I have a couple of adorable dies here, one from Echo Park and one that's intended for the inside of the card from Lawn Fawn. And here's a photo of the finished card. I also have a photo of the inside element with the cool pop-up from Lawn Fawn. So I'm going to show you how I made this, but I was able to use up some pattern paper, which I have entirely too much of. You can see here this is a book. It was actually gifted to me. I have no idea where it came from, but I am going to use a sheet of this cardstock with this cool polka dot pattern all over it for part of the card as well as that piece on the inside. So I'm just going to open up the packaging on these dies and get to work. This big hugs die, first of all, I'm just going to use some low tack tape and attach it to this pattern paper and run it off screen through my die cutting machine. Kind of just getting a feel for it. I haven't used it before, so I'm figuring out where the fold lines are and how this has to be configured. So I'm using my bone folder to kind of reinforce these curves here, and it looks like it's right along the edge of the text is where the folds are. So it really just highlights that big hugs and pops it out. But as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing that I could absolutely cut this out even further and then just use the letters for like a standalone die cut. So this is one of those products where you get kind of a lot of bang for your buck. And if it is still available, I will link it in the video description box below with all the other products. So here I'm just going to cut into this cutie patootie little narwhal, and there's lots of little different pieces. You can absolutely cut these apart. That's probably how it's intended, but I don't want to deal with all the little dies floating around and risk losing them. So I'm just going to keep them together and kind of use the part of it over the pattern paper that I know I'm going to use for the design. And the rest of it, I'm just going to actually die cut out in white, which you'll see here. I just have a little piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to do ink blending. So you absolutely could use pattern paper. You could use your color cardstock, but for me, I want to just do it on white and do some ink blending so I can cut it all out in one shebang and make it easier for myself. So I have this low tack tape from, I can't think of where it's from, I'll link it below. And then I also have my mint tape, which I'm using to hold it down. So I have the sticky side up on this thicker low tack tape, and I'm basically using that to hold these little fiddly die cuts in place while I use my blending brush and my little mini ink pads from Catherine Pooler to come in and add some color. So this is an alternative if you don't want to mess with all different colored cardstocks, or if you don't have all colored cardstocks, you can absolutely use your white cardstock and then just custom color it to whatever ink color you have in your stash or however you want to create it. So I'm just coming in with that stone blue just for the body, and then I'm kind of figuring with these little fiddly bits I want to use white and then this pattern paper so it'll tie in with the big hugs on the inside. And these little bits I struggled with for a while, I'm not going to lie, figuring out how those were supposed to be configured, and I don't even know if I had it right, but I don't know, I was struggle bus with that for sure. So some of the parts I'm just going to leave white so they kind of pop off. The colored bits, like the little bit for the tummy, I'm leaving that white. And then I do end up coming in with this green color just for his little fins, just for the left and right fin. And then I will ultimately make the horn, or the tooth rather, because narwhals actually have a tooth. It looks like a horn, like a unicorn, but it's actually a tooth. Fun fact from my daughter, who is obsessed with all sea creatures. So she was the one to teach me that. Anyway, I made his tooth polka dot like the parts of the fin and the inside of the card. And then instead of messing with little fiddly bits, I'm just going to liquid glue a little piece of black cardstock behind that so that it will make the eyes and the mouth black. And there's some liquid glue oozage, but no worries, I just wiped it off with my fingers. Now, to create this cool background, I have this Waves stencil from A Colorful Life Designs, and I am on the design team, so if you're in the market for some stencils, I definitely recommend this shop. There are thousands to choose from, super unique, good stuff, and it's a small woman-owned business in Texas, so be sure to check it out. But I do have that coupon that I just linked on the screen, and that will save you 10% on your complete order if you shop. So I'm just masking off that little top bit, and I did pixie spray it pretty liberally, but I'm coming at it too rough like usual, so I did pop up one of the waves like you can see there. So don't be like me, you'll be fine if you use the pixie spray, because it is delicate, but if you just don't come at it like a lumberjack like me, it'll be fine. But either way, I just kind of held it down and worked around heavier handed in spots and lighter handed in others with some blues and teals and greens just to kind of, create a watery background, but also tie in with the colors on the narwhal, and that created an easy scene directly on the card base. So that's 110-pound Nina Classic Crest Solar White. Now I'm figuring out how to attach this element into the inside of the card. I did wait to attach that just because it would have maybe made it harder for me to stencil on the card base. So I did the stenciling first, and then I put some score tape on the inside of these two little pieces of the die cut, but I would do this differently. So for one, see those little tabs that I'm touching right there? I didn't put adhesive on those, and I should have. So make sure you do the top and the bottom strip as well as those far thin side strips, because you want those to attach into the card base. And then when I close the card, it attached to the other side. So what I would do differently is I would, like I said, put foam, or not foam, put tape on the little side strips and then just remove it one at a time. So like remove the top strip and then attach it to the card and make sure it's configured how you want it, and then remove the other pieces and then close the card. So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, now I'm coming in with some little foam bits just to kind of pop up the sentiment, and I'm going to do the same thing to pop up the little narwhal. And this was a sizzix stamp set, and I wanted to use the sentiment, but not the narwhal, obviously. And these are adorable clear bubbles from Doodle's Paper Playground, another awesome small woman-owned business. So be sure to check out her shop. I'll link her below as well. She has a shop at Etsy, and these are just one of many cool blends. She does all these cool little sparkle blends, which are great for shaker cards, but I'm obsessed with these bubbles. And then this is another Etsy shop. I recently got this for my splattering, and I will link that below, but gorgeous, glittery, shimmery, metallic splatter goodness here. So I'm just putting some of it with my water brush pen on an acrylic block, and then I'm just going to spatter that all over. It's like a iridescent clear, just adds a little bit of extra shimmer onto my card. But I'm going to just splatter that all over right off the acrylic block. I'm just trying to hold it down with that little piece of low tack tape just so it'll stay put, but it's not really cooperating, but we made it work. Anyway, that's going to finish my card today. I have some fun elements. I was able to use some things in my craft room that I haven't touched yet, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I think that big hugs on the inside is going to be a nice surprise for the recipient. So thank you so much for sticking around to the end. It really does help me out when you do that. And please hit the thumbs up. That really helps me out too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.